Awesome. We are live. Hey guys, this is Brendan Borman back for another 270 video, but really this is Rick Wytmar's world. We're just living in it. We are back for the review for the Rick's Leaderboard 270 rankings. I think that's the official name, but yeah, awesome. It's been a few months since we've done this. I know people have been had it on the table like, where's my ranking? Where am I? I know I appreciate the invite. I really enjoy this and want to give your system some exposure. But yeah, how's it been the last several months since we did this?
It's been good. I mean, I'm just excited to show that there's been a lot of different changes. And the main point of this is just to shout out some of the people that have been doing really well. There are kind of surprises all over the place, so I'm glad to see it. And yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about publicity, there's only really one place to go. So glad to be here. I know you have some special shout outs to do from the top, so let's get those started.
Yeah, for sure. So for those of you who have been paying attention, several videos in the Post in the Lounge, two things. One, if you're watching this and it's before July the 5th, 270 is doing a promo where if you buy one of 10 candidates, there are a couple good ones. Liz Chan.
Yeah, there
are. If you buy one of those 10 candidates, there's a video on the channel. Watch that, and you get a free candidate, and it can be any candidate in the game. It can be Ronald Reagan 84, it can be President Biden. Doesn't matter. So you get two candidates for the price of one. So 270 doesn't have very many promotions often. So look at that. Also, this is a really awesome system that Rick's got going. It's very mathematical. Numbers don't lie, people do. But with with this Survey Monkey, so I put in the 270 Lounge. I want to get some feedback from some people because A, I want to promote some content that's good and you guys are interested in. But B, I wanted to hear like what are some of your favorite tournaments? Like what are who are some of the best commissioners and why do you enjoy that? And also who are some of the most underrated players. So just a few shout outs. Want to give a shout out to Renee Lopez. By far Survivor was way up on that list. And I know Rick and I were both casualties of the Survivor stress, but it's a fun tournament. Those social tournaments really force people to, have to conversate and get along. And we're getting back to the real world. There've been lots of mentions of the ATP tournament, which is a big part of this ranking. And just some of the tournaments that Chad Harris runs, his Major League Baseball and the NHL tournament's going to kick off. And as far as the commissioners go, there was so much support for Chad Harris and for Zac All Days. Zac All Days running the ATP, as well as his Pokemon League, which has been really cool to watch. And then I don't know how Chad runs all his stuff going on at the same time, but some special shouts to those guys, and then some. We miss you, Jeremy Cooper Sperber. If you ever come back, you're welcome. Lots of mentions of him. And then Rick, who do you think is one of the most underrated players in the lounge? I want to ask you why I'm pulling up this list here.
Well, I think the best player that nobody talks about, and we'll talk about him again later, is Bart Childers. And he just got some good results. Some of his numbers are going to look a little extra good, but like. Nobody talks about him, and the dude just wins. And I mean, just a little secret, he's not number one, but he's really high up there, and he's definitely somebody who, if you haven't heard of and you're gonna play him, watch out.
Yeah, he's dang good, and he's gotten a lot less predictable. People who have maybe heard some of my videos talking about Bart. Bart is a great guy. I've been in several group chats, and he's a really good sport too, which is pretty cool because he can lose graciously, which is something I have a hard time doing. But Bart, yeah, he's a stud. He was mentioned a couple times. He actually had 3 votes. Micah Moen had several votes, and James Bandelin had like 6 votes. So James Bandelin has definitely made a name. He's kind of a giant killer. Taking down some big names. We have some Eric York mentions. We have some Chase Moss mentions, but the number one player, he had 13 mentions. Is I'm going to butcher his last name here. Is Scott Elub. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Scott Elub. He's in our Republican chat, and he has gotten a lot better. There were some other names in here. We got Justin Falls. We got Carson, who runs the Mentor Challenge. So I don't want to say, too many names and take away from your system, but, it's, the science is great. The math part of it's great. Not everyone plays the same amount of matches. And so the system works its way out, but kudos to everyone who I mentioned. Hopefully you get a shout out this video or next time. Keep grinding, and we'll hopefully see you in the next time I do this. But how many people are you going to rank today, Rick?
Yeah, so we're gonna do. I'm gonna show the screen. We're ranking 25 people today, and we're gonna do 15 through 25 right at the start. So you're about to see a bunch of different names right. Oh, now. Let me make sure it's the right size and everything. Yeah, so this is 15 through 25. Just from your initial reaction, what are some names that kind of pop out? And the right side is movement from last time. So a fire emoji means they're up a certain amount of spots, and the ice emoji means they are down a certain amount of spots.
So right off the top, I see some huge names on this list. And I'm kind of glad that some of these players are getting the recognition. We'll get to them, as we get to them one by one here. But obviously, Troy Moore at 25, he still participates in, I think, the college sports tournaments. I haven't played him in a long time, but obviously he's ultra talented. And Richard Gadd, good on Richard moving up 9 spots. So I think 2 people at a time, it might be good enough to talk about it. So what do you think about Troy and Richard?
Yeah, well, if this was chess, I know Richard would kill us all. But yeah, I'm happy to see Richard on the list. And Troy, I know, participating in the ATP still. So yeah, I'm glad to see that Troy's still around.
Awesome. And coming in at 23, we have Alex Eastman, who I've only played maybe 1 or 2 times. He's very good. He reminds me a lot of Joshua Fisher, which is a compliment, who won the RHL Congress not this time, but the time before. And yeah, 1,398 points. And if I remember from our conversation last time, anything in this like tier of points, every time you play, you're almost like risking more than you're going to potentially gain. And so, I know people can maybe get stuck with the number of 23, versus, the points, but look at the gap between,
I know what they're all in the same, because 20 points is 1 win. Like if Sapun beat Alex, he would gain 20 points. So these are all like within 1 win of each other, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm. So just a caveat. So I thank you, Rick, for pointing that out. But Alex, kudos. He's also got his candidate model where we, rank candidates and use that. And Alex was actually responsible for helping out with Calvin Coolidge, making his stats. So kudos to Alex. At 22, we've got Sapun Leonage, who I feel like I'm single-handedly keeping Sapun in the top whatever, because he is continuously beating me. And it's so frustrating because we probably have gone back and forth. I think I beat him like 11 straight times or something crazy. And now he's on like a 5-game winning streak against me. And every game it comes down to like a big stone hands or a big a big move in Florida. And I've been on the wrong side of that every time. But no, Sapun, a master of, kind of like chess, you got to be 2 moves ahead. He is someone who, even if he's behind, he will not die till the last dog dies, and he'll stretch out his game, give him so many chances. And because of that, sometimes people shoot themselves in the foot, and Sapun can take advantage of that. But yeah, in the 1,400 club, did move down 3 spots, but can't take away from him there.
Yeah, Sapun's a legend, and yeah, I mean, there's certain people who are probably higher than you expect them to be, just because 2021 hasn't been the kindest to them, especially with, I don't think Sapun plays that much anymore. And Alex is somebody that if you don't know about, you should, especially because he's been on Brendan's channel. But hopefully somebody we can get in the RHL Congress next season, because he's not in it right now, and just a really good player.
Yeah, I think he would do well in the Congress. That'd be a good place for him. Coming in at 21, Siraj Thomas. I have not watched Siraj play in a long time, but I was fortunate to catch the Target 270 finals against Hasib, and I was rooting for Siraj. He put up a good fight with RR84, and although he fell 3 spots, I feel like Siraj is one of those players that you don't want to pick against in the tournament because he can go the distance in just about any format. He's really good at multiplayer, really good at 1v1. And I don't know what tournaments he's in, these days, but, very versatile all-around player. Micah Moen comes in next at number 20, 5 points ahead of Siraj. And Micah is someone who I actually have not beaten. I'm 0-1 against Micah. I played against him, had never played him before, and he did something that I can't remember what it was, but he did something that was like the obvious move, and sometimes I don't guard against that against a top player because that's too obvious. But no, Micah, I think he's got the swing to manufacturing route just about down to a T. And he's someone who I know where the first time we ever did this list, he was someone, he'll fall down, we won't have to worry about this guy again. And yeah, he's still here.
Yeah, I think Micah, I think people know from your survey that Micah's very underrated, and I think the placement here totally makes sense. And yeah, everything you said about Siraj is totally true. I do want to put, there's a small note that has Guillermo, that says note Guillermo 15. Guillermo is around the 15 range, but he hasn't played in 3 months, and I want to give people props, so I'm not factoring him in because he's pseudo-retired. This would also apply to Rishav, although Rishav recently actually he's around 26 because of the recent, I just put in like 5 minutes ago, the ATP, and obviously Richard Gadd and Troy Moore and Alex pushed him down a little bit. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, but yeah, we can move on from there.
Awesome. So next we've got Common, his username. We've got Khalil Blumen, and I like to give Khalil a hard time because he likes to give me a hard time. But we're all good. We were in Survivor, and I famously tried to give him a $25 gift card to vote out Dennis. Not denying that. He can't accept that in his country wherever he is. But no, Khalil, I tell you what, I would say Khalil is like top 5 in multiplayer. He is absolutely deadly. But in a 1v1 setting, he's just as deadly, especially if you haven't played him before, because he's very tactical. He's very calculated, and he's really good. He did fall 10 spots, so he was actually in the top 10. And I don't know if he had a kind of a poor, or underperforming, or if it just, people passed him. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a pretty still solid showing for Khalil. I mean, Daniel Warren coming in at number 18. I remember when Daniel Warren was like 60th on my power rankings. But Daniel Warren, I will say, got to give Daniel some credit. All the games and stuff aside, Daniel's a beast at getting his matches in. Some of these tournaments that we're in are starting to drag on in this USA versus the world, which is not Richard Gadd's fault. The RHL White House, they were waiting on me and Eric and other players, and Daniel was chomping at the bit. So kudos to Daniel for keeping that going. And he's made some pretty good runs. He's knocked off some good players. He beat me in game 1 of the RHL White House playoffs. I had to go win back-to-back just to advance to the next round. But yeah, both of those players I would say are actually pretty equal in dangerous level, where they're not afraid to make a ballsy move and have to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because you see people like Khalil, but mostly like Siraj, Sapine, like they've all dropped 3 shots, but it's mostly just because people like Daniel and Marcus have risen so much that almost by its very nature, they're going to drop a little bit just because of a monumental rise. So yeah, credit to Daniel at 38 in March and now at 18. So really good on him. Yeah.
Next spot we have David Robinson and 1,422 points. And I think you've got a little a miscalculation there because it says 3 little snowflakes or ice cubes, whatever. I don't know if you've seen Seattle, but it is scorching hot there. So I don't think even if he's fallen, you need to have a lot more flames. But no, David, again, just like Khalil, amazing multiplayer. And, but he is pretty deadly at that African American battle. If you ever go to war with David.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have to do it in the ATP if I get that far. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I mean, and just the nature of his games like that have a tendency to snowball one way or the other. Where
right.
So. But he is really good with a lead. Once he's ahead, you are not catching David. So he's a freight train. 1,422 points, and there's a pretty big tier jump here, or points wise, 15 points separating David and Raymond. Raymond Baroy. I say it both ways because I still don't know which way to talk it. So, I'm in so many chats with him. I should probably just ask.
Just DM, yeah.
But no, Raymond actually was probably going to beat me in a match. We were just playing in the public lobby. And we had a big old glitch, and it actually gave us double the amount of money and didn't. And so it was one of those deals where I had fake Florida pressure that became really real, and he had fake whatever pressure, and it became really real, and it was just like, what's going on here? But yeah, Raymond has knocked off some pretty big names, and he is a humble person, but when our kind of humble abode of our Republican chat, he'll share those with us, and those are pretty cool. I think he only plays with Republican candidates, so he's true to his Kevin McCarthy and his
roots.
Have you played either David or Raymond lately?
I've played David a handful of times, and David's released. Obviously a contender in the RHL White House. And yeah, I played Raymond recently, and I was lucky enough to beat him, but also super good multiplayer. And yeah, he just keeps rising. He went up from the last time and the time before he was going up too. And I want to start off on Marcus Amendola because I was talking with Marcus during the last one in April and March when we filmed this, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to take a small break. But I'm glad I'm at 26 or 27 or whatever it was. I can't see myself getting much higher than that." And I put in RHL Congress results and some other stuff, and boom, he's up 12 spots. So I feel a little bit jaded, but I'm happy to see him up here, and definitely a nice guy. So
absolutely, yeah. No, Marcus. I definitely I can't call him my mentee or anything, but I feel like I've worked with Marcus quite a bit, and I definitely call him a legitimate friend. We've talked on the phone lots of times, and he's got a new life situation. They did purchase a business. He's going to be a lot busier. And so anyway, I don't know if he's going to semi-retire or not, but like you said, you do get that point. Like, am I ever going to go higher than this? And
right.
Kudos to Marcus for really, doing his best and, pulling through. There were a couple matches where I was watching where I didn't think he had a chance in the mid game. He was able to reverse that. So he's got some good instincts about his his game. I do want to circle back to Raymond real fast. Raymond, he used to be known as like this the saber tactics guy, and he's gotten a lot better at changing his game style. And he did say to me the other day that I promise this is real. I'm not just making this up to promote, but he's like, I've been watching all your videos. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So he's trying to, emulate a couple different things. And, not saying, it's all because of that, but, if you're watching this and you have not yet subscribed, hit the button, watch this.
Hit the button.
It does help. You can probably take my strategies and make them even better, So,
right.
All good. But yeah, that's what Raymond said. But Marcus is at 15, and I can't wait to see the top 14. Oh, Tossin.
Tossin Lake at 14. What do you think about Tossin, Brandon?
Tossin also is another player who I think plays in a few big tournaments and not so much. I don't know how many tournaments he's played recently, but did move up a spot. So he's quite a bit ahead, in front of Marcus. So it looks like maybe David fell back from that tier. So yeah, Tossin still, in my mind is one of the if you give him any kind of lead, he's one of the best players for sure. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but anyone in the top group here, if you give them any amount of advantage, they're going to capitalize. And there's a little bit of, some players are better at, different strategies. Some people rely on like strong candidates. Some people like the equal, like round table type format, which I forgot to mention. People were talking about the round table as one of their favorite tournaments. There were lots of people, and you're the commissioner of that. So, it really brings out everyone's on the equal playing field. All these people, like, they're complaining about, oh, Bull Moose is too strong, or who the hell is Josh Gottheimer, which is a good question. It kind of negates that. So Tossin at 14, obviously, he'd probably be higher if you were asking people to rank players blindly, but it rewards people who play games, and we'll see who's higher than him.
God, it's a jury. Shout out to Scott for motivating us to do this. I've been kind of slacking off, and this week is about to get a lot harder for me, so I'm glad we fit it in now. But he posted when I'm getting this, and he's going to be rewarded because he's way up from last month. So,
absolutely. I mean, anytime you can jump 10 spots, that's super cool. But then you go from the top 23 to 13 at 1,456 points. Like, that's impressive. I will admit, I don't know much about Scott's accolades as far as what he's accomplished recently, so you'll have to fill me in. I know his game's legit because we actually played in a was it a tournament lobby game, or maybe just a public lobby. Oh, I was at work, and I had a 5-minute timer, and like same thing. It must be my game. It didn't take my turn, and then my phone died. I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry, my phone died. He's like, oh, no problem. So I mean, it was like, not a big deal. But Scott, I would say he's a Republican player. Would you agree with that? He's more of a.
I haven't played him in a while, but I can tell you that while not to jump to a completely different point, but Scott's part of the RHL Congress crew, and there's a lot of people in the RHL Congress that received a big bump, not only because there was a lot of talent that I think we kind of knew about, we also kind of didn't know about, but secondly, because they actually got their full season through, and this is a message to all the RHL players or the White House players that didn't play a full season. And so even if you didn't, like Scott, I don't think got past the first or second round of the playoffs, but because he was playing all those matches, and when you lose to good players, you don't lose as much, it's really worth it to get, an experience too. So that's what you're going to see it a couple more times as we get up here into the top 10. But yeah, that's just.
Well, there are a handful of guys. Marcus, we already talked about him. That I can think of that. I would have them higher than some of the White House guys.
Right.
So, I don't want to spoil names yet because I'm sure we're thinking the same names. So, but no. So Scott, I'm sorry, I didn't do your kind of glamour shot here enough justice, but you are a good player. I look forward to playing you again. I know you were immediately like, hey man, no problem, let's rematch. I said, I'm at work, but you'll probably get fair and square next time. So very cool.
Well, listen, I hope that even all that, he's still a top 15 player, and that should mean a lot to him, especially because if it was blind, would definitely not be getting that much respect. So we're going to move on to 12 here. And 12 is Brendan Borman. So I can talk about Brendan real quick because he's not going to talk a lot about himself. But Brendan's been really, really good over the last few months, and he's up 4 spots. And it might not really. You might say, oh, shouldn't he be higher? He's had a really good one. And I would say yes, but we're gonna get, especially once we get into like the 6, 7, 8 territory. Like these are all people that have won tournaments, and when you win a big tournament, you get a lot. You got a lot of mojo essentially. You get a lot of points. And and we're coming up on RHL playoffs, so that's a chance for Brendan to win a big playoffs. But my question was going to be like, I don't think you've been playing really well, but I don't think you've won a tournament recently. Is that correct?
I have finished third place in the ATP like 4 times, and I have finished. I have not won a tournament in a long time, and it's very kind of aggravating. And I'm not saying that I'm kind of getting in a phase here where I'm posting videos and having some time, and I'm really being strategic with. I'm going back to school and taking some college classes.
Yeah.
When I'm studying, I'm studying. When I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I've been able to do one really competitive match a day, and if I can focus on that and not do too much, it's been really good. That I don't know if you saw the match I played with Eric York the other day.
Oh yeah.
It's a best of 3 series, and like, the winner plays you, I think, right, in the next round. Yeah.
So, and I just want to say, don't let me saying this like take away from anything. Like, especially in the RHL, there's a couple people like you and below that have had really good seasons, and it reflects because people, even though they're not winning tournaments, have really shot up a little bit. But we are going to get into some of the tournament winners in the second year. So
I'm excited, and it gives me something to shoot for. So Scott, we're next to each other. Let's get that rematch.
All right, we'll move on to 11, which is George Fry, and you're actually tied with George Fry. So you can technically say you're tied for 11 because you have the same amount of points.
There you go. Well, I'll put George ahead of me because he's got the all-time record against me. So he is one of 7 players who currently have a better record than me, and one of them is this guy with me. You got the one game.
Lose track of these things, but yeah, we're neck and neck.
But George, he was one of those guys that also did not finish his RHL White House season, but he's ultra competitive, and he joined the ATP this month. This is the Grand Slam, the July ATP. So I expect George to get right back into it, knock some rust off. And I would say that, if you gave me even money that George would be top 10 next month, I'd smash that.
Yeah, the thing is that George doesn't play a ton, so players like this may creep up, but it gets really hard when you're losing a lot of points if you lose, and so we'll see. I mean, I think going up a little bit to top 10 is not unreasonable for sure. We'll move on from here to James Bandolin.
There he is. James, like I mentioned, people view him as, he is a top tier player. And if you don't take him, in his tactics seriously, you're going to be up, you're going to be in trouble. He is not afraid to play from behind. He's not afraid to attack, to pressure. He's typically a Democratic candidate from my experience, but I've seen him change it up a little bit. And that's what makes that next level where, you're not predictable. You don't even if you change up a little bit in the beginning, like you don't have your go-to tendencies. And James is starting to be, I've seen some stream matches. He is also one of the few people that has Jason Casey's number. I don't know their all-time record, but I know Jason never wants to play James. He did drop 2 spots, but he's a good 26 points ahead of George. So again, that's one or two losses or wins right ahead of him.
Yeah, it's like 1.5 essentially, especially because the numbers are a little lower when you're at the top rank. And in my system, James is 2-0 on Jason. So just
there you go. What it is.
I guess we can move on from there. James is
you can probably spell goat with the A in Jason, but I don't know.
We've got Javier Rodriguez
Yes.
at number 9.
So JJR, he did have an impressive comeback against Jason in the White House. I don't know if you saw either of those matches. They played 2 matches in the same night. It was like 270 to 267 or whatever, 268. And then the next match, Jason all this money on the ballot, and we thought, oh, here it comes, he's gonna flip it, and then he held on to win. Obviously Javier started the year absolutely couldn't go up any higher.
Oh yeah.
In all these tournaments, you were about the only one who could even like hold a stick to what Javier was doing. And we're going to talk about another name who's doing something similar. I'd say probably in about 8 more spots. But no, Javier, obviously an ambassador for the game and one of my good friends. So nothing to be ashamed of being at number 9.
Yeah, Javier is a beast, and he was 2 spots up ahead of small spoiler, but ahead of Jason Casey. After his series where he beat Jason, obviously. And then I just put the RHL, not the RHL, the ATP June results in, and he lost to number 10, James Vandalin, and it dropped him a couple spots. So, and you'll see because it's close, it's just about 20-ish points. But I just want to, I say that to recognize that, to congratulate Javier on a big comeback win and to keep him alive in the RHL playoffs, which have big ramifications on my system, but on the lounge in general. So
for sure. Well, number 8 here, and I'm impressed you haven't messed up the big black square thing.
I know I haven't messed up the big black square yet.
But I guess I'll talk about number 8. That'd be awkward. But no, Rick coming in, he did drop 3 spots. What are you doing, Rick? What are you doing? You were my pick.
Mojo's been off since March.
You were my pick to be number 1. So.
Oh no.
No, Rick, obviously a world-class player, very versatile. You don't rely on very strong candidates. You do really well in round table tournaments and things like that. I think in my mind, you and Javier being right next to other, that's kind of cool because if I was ranking players I didn't want to play, you guys would be right there. As far as the ATP goes, have you been playing the ATP?
Yeah, I had a good run last month where I beat a player we're about to talk about and also lost to a player we're about to talk about. So I know it's kind of vague, but I had a good run last month, and I think I haven't won a tournament lately, but RHL play like Brendan, like Javier has been done recently, and some of the other players that we're about to talk about. A lot of the RHL regular season really helped me out and helped some of us out. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
And you did beat Dylan Hales in the RHL playoffs, which Dylan's a great player. I love Dylan. He's one of the guys that'll always jump in and do a video when I'm filming about historic elections. Yeah, I'm down. But his name's Hard AI, and Rick definitely deserving of the top 8 spot. But I'm curious to see who these guys are that beat you and who you beat. I didn't watch last month because I think I lost the first round.
Well, I could say because let's say because they're both top 7 players, as you can tell. I beat Eric, and then I lost to Bart in the next round, and they both both really good players. So we're about to talk to them. But now should be a name that we were just kind of talking about familiar. It's Mr. Jason Casey.
Yeah, so
I can start off on Jason if you want, because I kind of know what I'm going to say. A lot of the stuff popping off with Jason kind of happened because of my rankings and because he's not, a little bit higher. But as we're going to see, the difference between he's at 7, so 7 and 1 and 2 isn't really that close. And I want to emphasize that the whole kind of heel persona that we're playing off in the lounge is not real. Like, this is somebody that just doesn't want to make up for mistakes per se. So that's all I'm going to say on Jason. I think I've said my piece.
Yeah, I can talk about Jason. I respect the heck out of Jason's game. He is very, very talented. he is willing to take big risks, and sometimes he's rewarded for that. He's you know, definitely got the track record of developing, or being very instrumental at the very minimum, some of these strategies that, are popular today. But yeah, Jason, he's not number one right now. I think that should be, something to carry him and give him some motivation to do that. But I can think of at least 3 or 4 players in the last handful of months who have put together some consistent results, dominant results. But no, Jason, his record against me speaks for itself. I've beaten him a couple times recently, but he's one of the 7 players who have a winning record against me. So kudos being top 7, 1 spot ahead of Rick. But
1 point.
one point.
We can move on to number 6, and I can start talking about number 6 because it's Zac All Days. And when I first asked for some of the recent results on Facebook, and Zac posted I can say I am mad at Zac All Days because he posted a gif of my stock falling and him falling off a cliff, and I was like, oh, he's gonna drop, right? And when I put the first results in, he was at number 4. So I was like, what are you doing to me, Zac? But anyway, really great player. I think the fact that he
beat me the first time ever that happened.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I put in the most recent June ATP results, so those really shook things up in the top 5. So we'll talk about that in a second, and he would be higher if I hadn't put those in yet. But credit to Zac, brilliant player.
Yep. I tell you what, I am not the best President Biden he's really good. Every time I play as President Biden, I lose. So I'm just going to default to RR84 if I have to go the A versus A route. But no, Zac All Days, he has poured so much time in 270.
Credit to him.
Yeah, he has been a really great commissioner, communicating, doing these group chats, encouraging people to finish. He's working a lot. I know that's been time consuming, and on top of all that, he's streamed some matches, and he has found the next level to his game. So Zac 6, that's pretty dang awesome. I don't say you've made it yet. I want to keep striving to be better, but that's pretty good.
It's hard to stay at the top. I think. Oh, I see myself dropping in the future. Let me put it that way. So.
Yeah. Well, Zac was my original pick to win the RHL Congress. It was him or Guillermo, and I was kind of going back and forth because Guillermo should have been.
Oh, and then Guillermo got upgraded.
But I'm gonna go in on Zac. I'm gonna go on Zac, and of course, we didn't know how good some of those other players were, but I think Zac has lived up to those expectations. Just as other people have been amazing as well.
Yeah, true. Do you have? I'm just curious to see if you can guess.
I know who 4 of these names are.
Okay, so who are they? Just go for it.
Well, so Eric York's in here. Hasib in here. Yep. I'm guessing is Conrad in here?
Yep.
Okay, and then there was one more. Bart was in here.
Yep.
And I'll probably think about it here. Give me 10 seconds.
RHL Congress and ATP are his standouts.
Yeah.
And he's number 5, so we're gonna talk about him right now. Do you want me to just do it? Or one guess?
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yep.
You're
on the spot. I feel bad.
Well, that's okay. Give me the most obscure hint. Was he in Survivor or Big Brother?
No. I don't know the Big Brother cast. I don't know.
Okay.
God.
Oh, Chris Lassinger.
Bingo!
Boom! Give me that. Give me that. Let's go.
So Chris, it's still a story with Chris. Is Chris had actually dropped to about he was 3 last month, and he had dropped to about 10. And I was like, oh, okay, reversion to me. Maybe this is where he belongs. And then he went to the ATP, and he placed second in June. He placed second last month. So credit to Chris, has had some huge results lately, and good player.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And he is a tournament player, whether it's the 270 tournament, where you're in the code, with the actual game,
Right.
tournament, he does really well in those. Or the ATP. I think those are his bread and butter tournaments. And I think he plays as a JFK sometimes, and it's tough, whenever you're playing against President Biden, or some of these other matches where, JFK is a great candidate, don't get me wrong, but some of these new school guys, it's just a little bit of a difference in the fact that he can still pull it off. Kudos to him. So he is the guy that got Eugene Debs to come out and Jane Newton. So I know you want to be more than that. You want to be like the best player ever and go for it. But you'll always be the Eugene Debs slayer in my eyes.
We can move on here to number 4. Number 4 is somebody who I've raved about at least twice already during this video, but Bart is a really good player. He's had some great results lately. He was top 4 at the latest ATP. I think he lost to Chris. But just, yeah, and there's somebody that people don't really talk about. I think actually, honestly, all the top 5 people don't really talk about a lot as the best player. So I'm glad to give him some recognition.
That's gonna change for a couple.
Yeah, true.
For this on my list. I mean, I would easily put 2 of the guys that we're going to talk about ahead of me. Conrad, I'm not taking anything away from him. I would maybe need to see a little bit more, like win a tournament or something. But I mean, he's in this tier. He's just, to me, he's in the bottom of the tier when we're talking about the next 2 guys. But 23 spots moving up to number 3, Conrad Scheffler. Kudos to Conrad. And I will say, I really appreciate your comments and your feedback on the lounge. Trust me when I say that the developers take your comments very seriously. So some of the stuff that they're talking about behind the scenes stem from your conversation. So first off, keep doing that. Second off, keep winning, because this is what happens. You go up.
Yeah. Well, I remember I talked with Conrad, and I hadn't put the RHL Congress results, and he had a really good season. He's like, "Oh, let me know when you put those in." So when I put them in, I was like, showing him text, and like, "Oh, congrats, you're like 6, 7, 5 around that range." And I was like, and I said, "Oh, I haven't put the other stuff in yet, so he may go down." And of course, he goes up because he's had really good results in the ATP. I think he won one. I'm not 100% sure, but he's at least done very well in basically all of them. So
yeah, no, and I'd say he is a consistent player. Like, he is somewhere in the sense of like, talking about Micah earlier, he's gonna fall off. I'm not saying I thought Conrad would fall off, but like, I thought, oh, he'll fall a little bit. No, he's here to stay, and I think he's at the very, very worst, like top 12. Like, I mean, that's if he's, comes off this heater a little bit, but no, 1,598 points. I mean, he's a full 130 points higher than I am. So he definitely deserves it. And I don't know if he's won an ATP or not. I'd have to check. Sorry, I didn't do any research.
I mean, we're doing this impromptu. I hope the audience knows that and respect our time.
It's after midnight, folks. And
yeah, Brendan's a grinder, guys. Brendan, you gotta respect Brendan's game.
But anyway, number 2, I'm gonna guess is Eric.
Wow, I didn't expect you to think that, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Hasib has been on a dynamite.
So let me quickly tell a story that these 2 were about within 1 game of each other before I did the most recent update. And like if there'd been 1 win, 1 loss, like it could have been Eric. And Hasib was ahead, but what I'm trying to say is Eric is very close. And then of course, right before we do our thing, like I've been saying a couple times, I put in the June ATP, and Hasib won the June ATP and went through a cast of characters. So this is kind of like the peak we've kind of seen right now. I don't think anybody has a, Yeah. I mean, just really good player and has been, yeah, I've been killing it. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, both these guys. I mean, like Eric, you can never count Eric out. Eric is someone who can win any way, any candidate. And I always thought Hasid, had to have a certain type of candidate. I will say that every time I've seen him stream, it's either been Joe Biden or President Biden, but man, he knows how to rock those candidates, and he's got some very good instincts, defensive tactics, very versatile. And I mean, the fruit is in the number here. I mean, 1,697.
I know.
I don't care who you play as. That is
so, like I said, he was at 1,650, and then he's at 6. He almost gained 50 points from beating. I know he beat Chris in the final, Chris last year in the final, and a cast of really good people on the way to win it. So, credit where credit is due. I'd say obviously Brendan's personal power rankings. If you ever do something like that, are just obviously you from the dome. But yeah, in my book, super good player and deserving of the top spot, at least at right now. So,
well, you know what? I like being put on the spot. Give me 30 seconds, and I'll have you top.
Okay, well, I can chat for 30 seconds and say it's been really interesting watching the results for the last couple of months, and the reason I do it is because I'm always excited to see how things change and stuff like that. And I can say one of the most awesome things we're doing at this time was, and this is not going to be super awesome for some people, but I've seen people start to plateau, which is really cool, which means at a certain point, it's not so much about how many matches you're playing, but it's about winning consistently and getting the good and doing well. It's very much how much have you done, what have you done for me lately? And I can look at what I have basically what I can, I'm gonna stop sharing and share the Excel sheet that I use really quickly. And don't worry, I'm still on for you, Brendan. I want to show them this one thing real quick, so you have a little bit of time. But basically, you can see this column right here has changed a few months ago, and obviously some people are super insane, like Conrad and Hasid. But some people, if they're around the range of gained a couple points or only lost a couple points, they've probably plateaued. I think myself is really good. I've gained exactly 0 points for a couple months ago. And you can see I've played a ton of matches, but no matter how many matches I play, I'm always remaining in the same place, which is really good because it proves that the system is no longer how many matches have you played versus how much are you winning consistently and stuff like that. And I know this to be true too, because there's a couple guys that are in that 26 to 30 range. I want to shout out Alex Keith and Connor Shanahan, who have played 40 matches between the both of them, and they're already getting up there. So if you're wanting somebody to look out for to breach the top 25, watch out for those two.
Alex almost took me down in the ATP. I mean, he had me on life support, and I was able to pivot and get out of there. But no, some good names. But I'm going to start at number 10 on my list here. So I have Zac All Days at number 10. I think that's a little bit lower than what he was on the system. But I mean, that's some of the names I left off of here. Some of the names I left off of here are, freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Number 9, I have Sapun, which he is way down at 22. So,
yep.
Maybe he hasn't played as much. But I've seen him. He's beaten me. He's still involved in the game. He went undefeated in the last TwoSeventy tournament. These things matter to me.
Right.
So, number 8, I've got Conrad at number 8. So he did fall from 3 to 8, but the people that are ahead of him, it just was super hard because I've got Bart at number 7. So that's probably pretty low on Bart. But I think the top 6 to me was the cutoff point. Bart was the highest of that next group. So at number 6, I actually have Jason Casey at number 6. I think you could flip 5 and 6, but I gave you the nod, Rick. I've got you at 5, and then I have Chris Lassinger at 4. I have Javier at 3. Eric at 2, and Hasid at 1. That's my top 10.
It's so interesting. I guess you got a lot of respect for Chris then, because Chris, I thought Conrad's down at least a little, All Days is down a little bit. I guess you got a lot of respect for Chris last
Well,
year.
I have, and I've actually had quite a bit of success against Chris, but I've just have seen more body of work from Chris. He's done it
Sure.
longer. He has.
Oh, and not to cut you off, but you're talking, and you factored in like the public lobby tournaments and stuff as well.
Yeah,
and
I've got
those.
everything I know about these players, and I did penalize Tossin a little bit. Like, I mean, like I had Sapun in there, not Tossin, because Tossin hasn't been playing like. He's been playing the bare minimum where Sapun's been playing more. I didn't have myself on this list. Raymond Baroy is someone honestly like I considered him a 10. Just he's been amazingly hot. But some of it just when you get to like this tier or these type of people, like it takes a lot. Like you gotta get far into like into Steve and Eric's case in Javier, you gotta win tournaments,
Right.
So honestly, yeah, do I think would I favor Jason Casey to beat Chris Lassinger? I would. It's just, right now I'm rewarding kind of college football.
What have you done for me lately? Yeah, for sure.
I'm rewarding, what I've seen lately. But yeah, that's my list. And Bart, I apologize. I feel like I'm the most biased against you. This is the first time I've ever had you ranked higher than me. So you deserve it.
No, I mean, listen, if Bart's mad, you can just look at the number 4 spot and be happy. So
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so you just got the ATP results in. Can you do a quick review of what tournaments going here? So you've got the ATP. I mean, pretty much all of the major tournaments. Does Target 270 go in here, or does?
No, let me find my document. Let me just say that people have been asking for the MLB League, which I know hasn't finished yet. That's not in yet. I mean, I can more easily name the stuff that's not off the top of my head. College baseball, which has been going on a while, isn't in yet. Dustin, if you've listened all the way to the end of this video, and the team, actually, not just Dustin, the team, please send me those results. And then, and the NHL stuff that just started is not in. But I can read off what's been in recently.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, like Troy Moore is someone who's participated in like that college one. So like he should. Yeah. And that makes sense. Again, don't kill the messenger. Rick is just putting the numbers in. We're just reporting what the numbers are, trying to give good feedback on everybody because at the end of the day, all these players are really good. So if you were mentioned at all on this video, kudos to you because you put time and energy into the game and you've at least been recognized. So good job. Golf clap.
Yeah, for sure. And I would just say like, I mean, a lot of the results, I just put in what I can is what I was basically trying to say. Like, if there is no result in yet, make sure to reach out to me and reach out to whoever's running it. And don't get mad at anybody who hasn't finished tournament yet. I specifically ask commissioners to not send me something until it's all the way finished. Just because it's easiest for me. I can put it in and I'm done with it. But yeah, I mean, this is all the data of what I have so far, and I'm happy to share the stuff. And kudos to all the people who have been doing well last few months.
Yep, awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to leave us on? A story, a fun fact, or a plug?
I don't have anything. I wish I had another thought, but instead I'm just gonna leave with a small story about Mr. Bryce Hawkins, who was in the hundreds, in the 130 range in my rankings before, and he's up like 100 spots. So shout out to Bryce for really bringing it back these last couple months. He was the biggest riser by far when I was looking at it. So yeah, that's what I'll end with. And subscribe to Brave Brothers on the channel.
He moved away from Missouri, and now he's so enjoy Arizona, my man Bryce. We'll miss you, but I'm glad I got to meet up with you before you moved. So very cool. Well, that should do it. Thanks again, Rick, for hopping on and doing this. And I know people will probably want the next rankings next week, but we're gonna have to wait. we want the numbers to come in so we can
let them simmer, Yeah,
we can expect maybe a month and a half, 2 months, somewhere in there. We get some more fresh data, maybe some new fresh blood. I will say for those of you who made it all the way in this video, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button, subscribe if you can. and be on the lookout. We've got Uncle Sam coming to the game, and we've got Hunter Biden coming to the game. And there's one more that's escaping my memory, but it should be fun. But until next time, guys, this is Brendan Borman, and that is
Rick Whitmar. Thanks, Brendan. This has been a blast.
yeah, and we'll catch you guys in the next 270 video.